ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive. Winner of the 2024 West Virginia Broadcasters Association Excellence in Broadcasting Award for Best Talk Show.
Welcome into the Thursday, May 9th edition. Your drive begins now on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. We'll open up our text line this hour at 304-396-TALK. That's 304-396-8255. Coming up on the program today, we're going to be speaking with a new member of the Tri-State Coal Cats. That's Rich Hill. He's going to be the hitting coach for the new team and the Appalachian League. So we'll talk to him in the next few minutes as we're getting closer to Coal Cats baseball opening up at Jack Cook Field. And, of course, we're getting closer to hopefully the Herd making the conference tournament. Baseball action last night. The Thundering Herd got it done, beating Ohio 7-4. Third, get this, the Herd takes 3 out of 4 at home. Marshall on the road, taking on James Madison. That's coming up tomorrow, 6 o'clock. And it was a big day for the Mountaineers. They got a huge win against Penn State, 18-7, and then Ohio State with the win over Youngstown State, 13-9. Since we're staying with baseball, no Pirates baseball. They lost yesterday, 5-4. Pirates are off today. Atlantic League action, Charleston beating Lexington 4-3. The teams were in action as we went to the air, so we'll get you a final there in just a few minutes as well once we get the final score from. I think they're playing some really good baseball right now in Charleston. This is probably the best team they've had in a long time. They're really competitive. So we'll get all of that for you coming up on the show. We'll get your text in, and, of course, we'll talk a little Coal Cats baseball. But let's start with football. Big get for the Herd today. Marshall picking up a commitment from D.V. Harris. He is an outside linebacker, and he played at Colorado previously. Before that, he played at Old Dominion as well. And he has committed to the Thundering Herd. That was on X earlier today. So he's coming from a Power 5 conference, Power 5 school. You know, so much turmoil at Colorado. I think I'd want to get out of Colorado as well. I mean, Coach Prime, he brings a lot of swag and he brings a lot of notoriety, but I don't know what the results are going to be just yet. So I would get out of Colorado if I could as well. Played a couple of seasons. You might remember him at Old Dominion. He was there for about 23 games, and he had 3 starts as well. So he became the first defensive player in Old Dominion history to score 2 defensive touchdowns in the same season back in 2021. So he's highly regarded. He's going to be playing for the Thundering Herd. And, of course, yesterday the big news was that Colin Parachek, he took his name out of the transfer portal. He's going to be back with the Thundering Herd. So we had some of his comments after the spring game. That's all relevant again. You can go back and listen to that right now. Just find it on our podcast. You can do that at WRVC.com, or you can get it on Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcast. If you need a little help, if you're following me on X, I retweeted that episode so you can find it. That episode, we put it together. We had his comments, and then shortly thereafter, it didn't age well. Well, it's back. It's valid again. Put it in your playlist. So we're looking forward to seeing what the quarterback room is going to look like. There's going to be some competition for the quarterback position, and I think Parachek maybe didn't like what he saw out there or kind of thought about it. You can put yourself in the transfer portal, and you can take yourself out. That's the good thing. You don't have to live with the decision. If you put yourself in and you keep a good relation with the coach, you could take yourself right back out and say, look, not for me. I've got it better here than I thought at Marshall, or the situation's good. I mean, we had several Marshall women's basketball players do that as well. So you can take yourself in, you can take yourself out of the portal. So that's a good get for the Thundering Herd. And then the news today with D.V. Harris joining the Thundering Herd. So we'll hopefully see some more names pop up as, again, transfer portal is closed for entering the portal, but recruiting does continue. And, of course, transfer portal giveth, it taketh away. Former Marshall standout E.J. Horton. He's going to be going to FAU. He's going to be reuniting with former Marshall quarterback Cam Fancher. So the transfer portal giveth, the transfer portal taketh away. But I like where Marshall's at right now, especially with Harris. ESPN had him highly regarded. He was ranked as the number 6 edge and number 10 player from the state of Missouri. Ended his high school career with a lot of tackles. He was well regarded, played in 12 games at Colorado, had 14 total tackles, 5 unassisted, 1 for loss. So there's some potential there for Marshall. And I think it's a good get for the Thundering Herd. And to keep Parachek, that's even better for me because I want to see some competition in that quarterback room. I thought Parachek had a really good spring game. Now, one game does not make you the starter, but I definitely want to see that competition continue because we don't know who's going to be the starting quarterback just yet. That's where we're at right now. We just don't know, and I think I'm okay with that. I mean, some want Cole Pennington to be the starting quarterback, and as much as I would love to see a Pennington on the field, I still want the best quarterback for the Thundering Herd. Doesn't matter the name. So if Parachek's going to be the guy, I'm good with it. Cole Pennington beats him out, I'm good with it as well. And, of course, we don't know where Marshall's quarterback futures lie. We'll find out. But Parachek coming back is definitely, I think, a good one for the Thundering Herd. We had a busy night last night. I don't know how many of you were watching the NBA or the NHL, but we had a lot of action yesterday. I think a lot of us were just stuck on watching softball on ESPN+. Baseball got over sooner than expected for a lot. So they beat Ohio 7-4. And now we switch over to softball. I'm sure some of you were already on softball. But if you weren't and you flipped over, this thing, it goes into 11 innings. And now the Herd advancing after winning 4-2, taking on Texas State. They've got quarterfinal action tonight. It's going to be the late one. But that one was a game and a half, wasn't it? How many of you watched that last night, watching on ESPN+? I mean, you had a lot to flip back and forth, but I think after a while, I mean, the baseball game was pretty exciting. It's Ohio, so you definitely want to find out what's happening there. But the Thundering Herd, 3.5 hours. It was a 7-game win streak for Georgia Southern, and the Herd snapped that. And Kesa Parks with a go-ahead triple and scored on a wild throw to break the 2-2 tie. And Marshall, as a 10 seed, advancing over the 7 seed. Junior first baseman Riley Lucas scored on the play. She had a really good day at the plate. She was 2 of 2, and she is showing a lot of motor there. She got on base safely, career high 5 times. So she's definitely getting it done. So softball hopefully can take care of business coming up against Texas State. We'll be watching tonight, I'm sure, on ESPN+. We'll get into everything that's happening today. We'll get your text in this hour, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. But when we continue, we're going to turn our attention to the Tri-State Coalcats for just a second. We've got coming up an interview with Rich Hill. He is the hitting coach for the Tri-State Coalcats. We'll talk to him when we continue on this edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
My son loves to fly kites, but my active psoriatic arthritis can sometimes hold me back. Now with Skyrizi to treat my skin and joints, I'm ready to go. Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults, helps with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. For those who also have plaque psoriasis, 90% clearer skin is possible with just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, there's nothing like clearer skin and better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi today and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
My whole identity had been wrapped up in being a soldier. To have that so violently ripped from me when I was wounded, I was lost for a very long time. When Wounded Warrior Project came into my life, being around the other warriors, people that had similar experiences that I did, it was a game changer for me. having King join the group, that was the beginning of a really good friendship. It's a good time.
I first heard about Wounded Warrior Project through CQ. And at first I was kind of like, I don't know if I qualify. But having been a part of it, it's kind of taught me that it's not just the wounds that you can see, but it's those that you can't.
When you do something like a peer support group with Wounded Warrior Project and come together from different walks of life, man, the growth is incredible. If not for Wounded Warrior Project, I really don't think that I'd be here today.
See how we help warriors combat stigma at woundedwarriorproject.org/combat stigma.
Sunflower Seeds will host an I Run Walk for Ukraine 5K Saturday, May 18th at Ritter Park. It starts at 9 o'clock. Visit tristateracer.com to register. T-shirts, canvas bags, and other items, part of the $25 pre-registration fee. Sunflower Seeds Incorporated is a tri-state area nonprofit established to raise awareness and resources for humanitarian aid to Ukrainian refugees. 17 million Ukrainians are in need of aid, and most of the refugees are women and children who want to remain near their Ukrainian homeland. To date, Sunflower Seeds has raised $40,000 and over 13,000 pounds of food and medical supplies have been delivered across 6 trips to Poland and beyond. Again, to be part of this I Run Walk for Ukraine 5K May 18th at Ritter Park at 9 o'clock, visit tristateracer.com to register.
Hey, it's Toby from Wendy's. Our new breakfast burrito is a fully loaded breakfast. I don't even know if I have enough time to tell you everything that's inside. 2 fresh cracked eggs, seasoned breakfast potatoes, 6 strips of bacon, cheese sauce, wrapped in a warm flour tortilla. Yes! Now, come and get it. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's new breakfast burrito. Only at participating U.S. Wendy's.
There's a chill in the air at GoMart as we start our spooky summer savings early. Throughout May, we're teaming up with Ghost Energy to bring you spooky bonus reward points with the GoMart Ghost Hunt. Join the hunt to earn reward points and a game token with your Ghost Energy purchase. The top 25 reward point earners will receive a bone-chilling 5,000 bonus points. Imagine all the ghouly treats you can grab with those points. Just head over to the GoMart app for all the spine-tingling details.
Okay, forest animals, today is a new day. Kids are coming to the forest, and it's up to us to make their visit a good one. Sparrow.
Yes?
Have you practiced the most popular bird songs for the year?
Of course.
Catchy. I like it. Okay, River.
Dude.
How's the temperature?
It's a refreshing 52 degrees, man. Perfect for a little riverside shoeless relaxation.
Ah, good. Owl, you here? Course. Who's asking? I am. Look, you know the drill. Sleep during the day, scare the kids at night. Perfect. I love my job. Oak Tree?
Sup?
Still in the same place I left you last year. That's what I like. Consistency.
Well, it's not like I'm going anywhere for the next couple hundred years.
I know. I love it. Turtle. Turtle.
He's not here yet, man.
He's late every morning. You'd think he would have learned by now to leave the night before our meetings. Okay. Squirrel. Has anybody seen Mr. Squirrel?
The forest has been preparing just for you. Visit a forest near you today. To learn more about cool things to do in the forest, visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Welcome back to the Thursday edition. Paul Swann, your host. We're going to open the text line back up for you in just a few minutes at 304-396-TALK. That's 304-396-8255. While Marshall baseball is starting to wrap up, and hopefully the herd will be in the postseason sooner than you think, we've got a different type of baseball coming up. Tri-State Cats will be debuting soon at Jack Cook Field. And as the staff gets put together, we're talking to more and more of the new people that you'll be seeing at Jack Cook Field. And we want to welcome to the program now, newly named the hitting coach for the Tri-State Cats, and that is Roger Hill. Roger, thanks for joining us and congratulations.
Oh, thank you very much. Thanks for having me on your show.
Now, for those that maybe aren't as familiar with your career, you were with the Seattle Mariners for a long time. You were there in the 80s, so I'm sure for some of the younger guys, you got to tell them a little bit about what you did, who you are. Do guys still, do they still like look up to guys like you that played back in the day when maybe you didn't get the attention they do now with social media and everything, the way it's so blown up these days?
Yeah, they pay attention to things we talk about. That's one thing I enjoy about coaching now, and back when I was in my 20s and 30s coaching in the Indians organization. I like to tell a lot of stories, and it gets the kids' attention. They like hearing stories about how you progress from one end of the minor leagues, and those that do make it to the big leagues and become successful. You either played with them or played around them. So kids always enjoy hearing those stories.
What was your life like after stopping playing baseball and getting into coaching? Was it something you had always wanted to do? Did you transition into that as you wanted to stay connected to the game? How'd you get it started into coaching?
Well, baseball runs in my family. My dad played in the Giants organizations back in the 50s. He had 5 boys. We're all a year apart. My brother, 1 year older than me, signed with the White Sox out of high school. I signed out of college. So we had Sunday leagues where we'd play alongside big league players back in the day, and I just enjoyed being around the game of baseball. So once I got injured with the Indians, they asked me to be a coach. I coached for 3 or 4 years in their farm system, and I always wanted to continue coaching. I promised my mother I'd come home, finish school before I get into a long career. So I came home, got my degree, had a family, and now I'm coaching around the L.A. area a lot.
So now you're going to be coming to Huntington, West Virginia to be coaching for a couple seasons, or hopefully much longer in the Appalachian League. You're no stranger to the Appy League. You have been in the Appy League already. You've been working with Tommy Gregg. You worked with him a year ago. What's that relationship like, and why do you want to continue to do it?
Yeah, this is my 4th season coming back to the Appy League. I was in Pulaski all 3. I actually coached in '87 in Burlington when the Indians won the Rookie League title. I was one of the coaches. But working with Tommy Gray last year was a thrill. We both pretty much have the same basics of how the game is supposed to be played, the same ideals. And I just enjoy sitting down talking to him. Even when we weren't at the field, we'd spend time in the hotel together, just sitting around talking baseball. So I really enjoyed being with him.
Was there anything about the situation in Huntington that made you excited that you get an opportunity to come back, work with Tommy Gregg, and you get to go to a new place like Huntington? Was there anything that excited you, new ballpark, to get a chance to work with maybe a few players from Marshall University? What was it that maybe intrigued you about the job?
Well, the job since I've been in the Appy League has always been a thrill to just be around college-age kids that have a chance to make it professionally. We're only with them 2 months, so we can only give them a little bit of information, try to help them as best as possible. There's guys that started 4 years ago, the first year I was here, that have signed professional contracts. So it's just exciting to know that somehow you helped out. I'm looking forward to doing that this year. I'm a California native, so going back to Virginia all these years and being around all the trees and the peace and quiet, it's right where I like to be.
Well, you've got a great situation as Marshall just opening up a brand new ballpark, so it's quite stunning, and they're going to make it even better as they're continuing to build it. And you're going to be hopefully in front of some sellout crowds, as people have been hungry for baseball for a long time. You mentioned just a moment ago, you get them for a couple of months, so you got to get a lot in. What's that process like? As you mentioned, you see them for a couple of months, and then you hope that you did your very best, and they move on. So what's that process like, trying to get everything you possibly can with them in such a short time?
I think making it fun for them, letting them know, when we get out on the field, it's about them getting better each and every day, not taking the summer for granted because they know they're going back to their schools. Sometimes we're in touch with their coaches, and they'll, like me, I'm the hitting coach. They'll tell me what they want their specific player to what he wants them to work on. So it's fun, and at the same time, it's a job, and you like to see them grow and be successful.
Our guest is new hitting coach for the Tri-State Coldcats. That's Roger Hill. And Roger, you've touched a lot of lives. You've been around the game for a long time. What do you think you've gotten the most out of this, as far as making that transition from a player to a coach? What's been the most rewarding for you? I know getting to watch these kids progress is something special, but is there a special moment? Is there just a point in your career where somebody has progressed pretty far? Is there a standout and maybe that you can point to and that makes you the most proud?
There's been a lot of players, especially like I said, when I was in the Indians organization. Our rookie ball team had about 7 guys that ended up making it to the big leagues. For those that are a little bit older, could remember Steve Olin with the Orioles. Rest in peace, he had passed away in a boating accident. But we had some standouts that year, and I know I really helped them because at the rookie level, it's sort of like now with the Cold Cats, it's going to be teaching kids where they can get to and not just being a big league coach where you're already there. You're just working on getting better at that level of play.
What do you know about your team so far? Have you had a chance to really dive into that, or is that just not how it works with you? You show up, you get them on the field, and you evaluate then?
No, we have actually can watch video with the Synergy, and next week I'll be in Cabo, Mexico on vacation for a week before I come there, so I'll spend time watching a little video because that relaxes me. It's something I enjoy. I might be able to find something little and something that they're doing and just, kind of get them to buy into what I'm teaching them. Everybody doesn't buy into everything you teach, but if one person gets that one little thing and becomes successful, it makes me feel like I've done an exciting job.
I was going to ask you, what kind of vacation is that where you're doing film study, but, you want to hang out in Mexico and watch baseball film? I mean, that's the way to go, right?
Yeah, well, I'm also a junior college coach here, head coach here in California, and we just finished a rough season, so I need to just relax, but I don't want to take my mind off baseball because, like I said, it's been in my life. I think I started at 3 years old, and I've been playing ever since.
My guest is Roger Hill. He's going to be the hitting coach for the Tri-State Cold Cats. So what do you expect from these players? I know a lot of people are curious, what kind of style of play can we see from the Cold Cats? What are we looking for when fans show up? What can you say? What kind of player do you hope to produce the next couple of months? What are you expecting for these guys when they're on the field for you?
Well, not only to be successful in whatever they do or to progress and get better, because each and every day in baseball, that's the key to always get better. But I'm hoping they bring excitement for the fans. Like you said, the fans coming to the game, they come for a reason. They come to have fun, enjoy, and see some good baseball. So we're hoping to put together on the field good baseball, guys that do the proper fundamentals and act, look like they want to be there and having fun.
My guest is Roger Hill. He's going to be the new hitting coach for the Tri-State Cold Cats, and you're going to be in Mexico vacationing, then getting here for the next couple of months. And is it tough to do it this way? You spend a couple of months away from your family. How's that work for someone who takes this life on? I mean, usually if you're in a situation where you're a coach, you got home games where your family's at. You go on the road, then you come back home. For you, you're going to be embedded in all of this for the next couple of months. What brings you back to that? I know it's got to be tough for anybody.
Well, first of all, I'm single. I'm not married anymore. My kids are 25, 26, 27. I got a 5-year-old grandson and another grandson on the way next month, and they all live in my house. So it's a vacation for 2 months for me to get away.
Okay, so even better. There's the draw right there. We'll see you guys in 2 months. Have fun without me. I get it. Makes perfect sense now.
Yes.
Roger Hill's with us. He is the Tri-State Cold Cats hitting coach, and he'll be here in Huntington sooner than later. Have fun in Mexico. I'm envious of you right now. I wish I could take a week off right before the season starts and just go to Mexico. That sounds like a lot of fun. You will get some fun in, right? You get to do something else other than scout, right?
Oh, yeah. Me and my brother, we go because we like to fish. We just went in December and caught 53 pounds of fish, marlin, mahi-mahi. So we want to add to it. And then when I get back home in August, we'll probably have a fish fry.
Okay. There are rivers and lakes around Huntington, West Virginia, so you might just in a spare moment or two, you might be able to get a quick couple hours of fishing in. I'm just saying there might be an opportunity here for you.
Yeah, that's what I enjoy. That's what I did the last 3 years. I looked for the fishing holes and the bowling alley.
We can take care of you there. We'll get you hooked up with all the fishing and the bowling you can handle. Roger Hill's my guest. He is the Tri-State Coldcats hitting coach. Roger, congratulations once again. We're looking forward to seeing you here soon in Huntington. And have a great vacation before you come back and get going again in Huntington.
Oh, thank you. And I'm excited. I'm going to be excited when I get there, and I hope I get to meet people as I've done in the past 3 years. I enjoy talking to fans along with, teaching the players. So I'm an open guy. If somebody see me, they come up to me and say hello, we can have a conversation.
Great. Thanks, Roger. Looking forward to it.
All right. Thank you.
Mr. Roger Hill, he's the new hitting coach for the Tri-State Coldcats. Likes to go fishing, so if there's any fishing suggestions for him, we'll get those to him. And of course, he likes to bowl as well. No, that's got to be a tough couple of months in store for him as you're doing this day by day by day, and you got to love it. Absolutely, got to love it to be able to live that life. We'll get your text in 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. More coming up on this edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Are you one of the nearly 10 million families that own a timeshare? Unfortunately, many families stuck in timeshares have learned the dark side of ownership, as their timeshare ends up being nothing like they were promised. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. If you were lied to when buying a timeshare, you're going to need help. I know this because I once worked as a timeshare salesman, but quit the business and made it my personal mission to help folks get rid of bad timeshares. That's why I put together a timeshare exit information kit to help you understand how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation. Over 30,000 families have trusted us to get rid of their timeshares. Many started out by simply calling us for the free information kit and are now timeshare free.
To get your free information kit, call Wesley Financial now. 800-814-1500. That's 800-814-1500. 800-814-1500.
In the tapestry of life, we encounter stories of legacy and accomplishment, but sometimes also abuse, neglect, or financial exploitation. Adult Protective Services understands the importance of safeguarding the well-being of our loved ones, our neighbors, and our community. To report neglect or abuse, call 800-352-6513. Sponsored by the Administration for Community Living, West Virginia Department of Health and Human Resources, Bureau for Social Services, the West Virginia Broadcasters Association, and this station. This project was supported by the Administration for Community Living, ACL, and the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, HHS, as part of a financial assistance award totaling $383,493, with 75% funded by ACL, HHS, and 25% in the amount of $85,236 funded by state government sources. The contents are those of the authors and do not necessarily represent the official views of, nor an endorsement by, ACL, HHS, or the U.S. government.
My whole identity had been wrapped up in being a soldier. To have that so violently ripped from me when I was wounded, I was lost for a very long time. When Wounded Warrior Project came into my life, being around the other warriors, people that had similar experiences that I did, it was a game changer for me. Having King join the group, that was the beginning of a really good friendship. It's a good time.
I first heard about Wounded Warrior Project through CQ. And at first I was kind of like, I don't know if I qualify. But having been a part of it, it's kind of taught me that it's not just the wounds that you can see, but it's those that you can't.
When you do something like a peer support group with Wounded Warrior Project and come together from different walks of life, man, the growth is incredible. If not for Wounded Warrior Project, I really don't think that I'd be here today.
See how we help warriors combat stigma at woundedwarriorproject.org/combat stigma.
Hey, let's talk about your favorite day. You'd probably say Christmas Day or maybe New Year's Day. Well, I'm here to make a pitch for Monday. That's right, I said Monday at Roosters at Pullman Square in Huntington, because on Mondays at Roosters, you can get 79-cent boneless wings. Or maybe Tuesday, when you can get the $3 featured appetizer of the week and 99-cent kids meals. Actually, let's talk about Thursday with a late happy hour featuring $1 wings. Enjoy your favorite day or days with over 40 TVs. Roosters, Pullman Square in Huntington, a fun, casual joint.
Save big money on roof and floor trusses. Now at Menards. We carry a large selection of pre-built, residential, and post-frame trusses to complete your next building project. Bring your building plans to your local Menards or upload online and start designing your trusses today. Save big on trusses at Menards. And don't forget to check out our flyer on Menards.com for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
Every 2 minutes, a child becomes a victim of sex trafficking in the U.S. It's happening right now. Don't change the channel. Don't cover your kids' ears, no matter how much you want to ignore it. Child trafficking is real. In fact, it's happening in your town. And you know what our greatest weapon against child trafficking is? It's our children. It's time to act with PACT. That's Partners Against Child Trafficking. PACT works to teach students to identify the warning signs of child trafficking so they can help other vulnerable kids around them. PACT student ambassadors receive in-depth training on the issue and design a project to raise awareness, reduce victimization, and disrupt demand. Any student around the world can sign up for PACT's online training program and learn how to stop child trafficking. Go to pact.city to sign up for the 1-hour course today. With PACT, we declare not one more victim.
You're listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Winner of the 2024 West Virginia Broadcasters Association Excellence in Broadcasting Award for Best Talk Show.
Our text line is 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Welcome back to The Drive here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. We got a busy night tonight. Thundering Herd back in action, hopefully going to be beating a second-seeded Texas State team that's maybe a little overconfident after beating the Thundering Herd a few days ago. That's coming up tonight. That's going to be at 8 o'clock. It'll be on ESPN+. So if you're not doing anything tonight, you get a little softball action. And we talked about it earlier, but how many of you stayed for the entire game? How many of you watched the entire thing? For those of you who are at baseball, you're excused for this. If you went to Marshall baseball last night, you're excused. Or if you were trying to flip back and forth, if you were home, you were listening, trying to follow baseball, you were trying to follow softball, you're excused from this. But once you found out that this thing was going extra innings, once you found out this thing was tied and going extra innings, did you immediately stop what you were doing and flip over? Your answer should be yes. I'm getting the head nod from our producer, Ben Anderson. Did you not? Ben's shaking his head. Wait a minute, Ben. You're Mr. Softball, and you didn't watch the entirety of. Did you fall asleep? You fell asleep. So our producer, who's Mr. Softball, who has flooded me with more notes than I can process at this moment about what's happening with softball, fell asleep. I was wondering why you were holding your head in shame in there because you fell asleep. Come on, how do you fall asleep? I mean, this is an elimination game. You don't fall asleep in an elimination game. I mean, you stick around. I didn't cut out when Carolina and the Rangers went into double overtime. I didn't bail out on that. You don't bail out. You stick around. How many innings did you get? How many did you watch? Did you watch any of it? What? What were you doing? Baseball? You watching baseball? Okay. Just say you were at were you at baseball? You were watching baseball. Ben, it hasn't even been a week yet. I'm already, I don't know, I'm shaking my head here. That was a heck of a game. And of course, if you were following all along, you're like, yeah, this is a fun game. If you found out on social media, you're looking at updates and you saw the score, oh wait, this thing's going to extra innings. This could be pretty good here. If you weren't already watching, but we're talking 3.5 hours. 3.5 hours. And Savannah Rice went the distance. She went the distance. She went the final 9 innings. She allowed 3 hits, and she held Georgia Southern scoreless after the 4th inning. So Riley Lucas, probably one of the stars of the game. Keza Parks with that go-ahead triple. And Thundering Herd breaking that 2-2 tie in the 11th, and Marshall gets the win, and we're now talking about hopefully beating Texas State tonight. So I'm sure a lot of people are going to be tuned in for that one. And if the Herd can advance, it would be on script, I would think. We're not used to the Thundering Herd being a 10 seed in this. I know this season's different, though. I mean, it's a transition season. Do you feel it's been a little different because last year we're talking about possibly winning the conference championship, and there was a high expectation there. And this year, the Herd, while struggling a little bit coming in as the 10 seed, I didn't think there was any doubt that they would qualify, but they come in as the 10 seed. Has this been a little bit of a different season for you, more of a transition? But sometimes teams get hot at the right time, and you've played several days already. You play Texas State. You kind of know what that ballpark's all about. You're a little bit more familiar with it. And you were competitive with Texas State. I'm not saying that that's anything to be happy about, but you can't take it away as a positive. And look, we didn't get it done, but we were competitive. We kind of have a better idea. And I'm sure they've got a chip on their shoulder now. They've got a lot to prove, because if they could have won the series against Texas State, they would have probably finished a little higher, maybe higher. They were at 7 before they played Texas State. They end up the 10 seed. They could have possibly got a little bit higher, but I think they were right where they needed to be, because now they get another shot at Texas State. They faced them already. They kind of know what they're about. And I don't know how energized you get after a game like this. You go extra innings. I'm sure practice was light today. If there were any light workouts, they were very light. But I'm sure they were not fatigued and tired after winning that one. So this one's coming up tonight, 8 o'clock, only be on ESPN+, Sunbelt quarterfinals, second meeting between these two teams as the Herd was swept in that series versus Texas State. Texas State did outscore Marshall 15-5. Texas State's good. They are 22-8 at home, so they do have an advantage in this tournament. And the pitcher of the year, Jessica Mullins, is on that Texas State roster. So this will be a challenging one tonight, and I think the Thundering Herd definitely should be amped after what happened last night. Baseball, of course, last night as well. That's a game I hope gets bigger and bigger as we now have a real ballpark to go watch it in with Marshall and Ohio. That's a game I would like to see more of yearly, and I think you will. It's just been so hard to try to form, maybe not for the players, maybe for the players, but it's been very hard to kind of form those real rivalries. And with baseball, Marshall should play Ohio in everything that you possibly can, and football included. I would almost want to see the Marshall-Ohio game be a regular occurrence. Of all the non-conference opponents, I know that's probably not realistic. You're going to have your money game. You're going to have your home game. And some years you might take a couple of money games. So football might not be as realistic. But if you're at Marshall's level right now, you got to take some money games. You look at a situation where the Thundering Herd can now really start to cook. And we saw that last night. So I think they're heating up a little bit. They still have a tough road ahead of them. We'll talk a little bit more about that. And, of course, we'll get your text in, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Also, we're kind of keeping an eye on what's happening with track and field. We're not going to have anything really solid for a little bit on that. But track and field in action today. The Sunbelt Conference Outdoor Championships are going on. And hopefully Marshall can bring home some gold in that event. And that is something that we've seen Marshall be pretty successful as of late. Track and field seems to be a higher priority than it's ever been at Marshall. And so we'll see what they can do. They're at the conference tournament. We'll see if the Herd can bring some championship gold home. We'll talk a little bit more about that when we continue on this edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
It's the Stanley Cup playoffs on Sports USA, and we're headed to the Carolinas for Game 3 between the New York Rangers and the Hurricanes. The Canes have Teravainen, Jarvis, and Aho on the offensive storm front. The Rangers' defense is strong and led by goaltender Igor Shesterkin. It's Game 3, the Rangers at the Hurricanes, this Thursday on your home for the Stanley Cup playoffs and the Stanley Cup Final. Sports USA
on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
My whole identity had been wrapped up in being a soldier. To have that so violently ripped from me when I was wounded, I was lost for a very long time. When Wounded Warrior Project came into my life, being around the other warriors, people that had similar experiences that I did, it was a game changer for me. Having King join the group, that was the beginning of a really good friendship. It's a good time.
I first heard about Wounded Warrior Project through CQ. And at first I was kind of like, I don't know if I qualify. But having been a part of it, it's kind of taught me that it's not just the wounds that you can see, but it's those that you can't.
When you do something like a peer support group with Wounded Warrior Project and come together from different walks of life, man, the growth is incredible. If not for Wounded Warrior Project, I really don't think that I'd be here today.
See how we help warriors combat stigma at woundedwarriorproject.org/combat stigma.
Giovanni's has great Italian dishes. Spaghetti with meat sauce, lasagna, ravioli, manicotti, all dinners served with hot garlic bread or Italian rolls. Giovanni's, the Italian place to be.
Bluegrass Wound Care and Hyperbarics is now open in Ashland and accepting new patients. If you or a loved one are dealing with persistent wounds that will not heal, trust the experts at Bluegrass Wound Care and Hyperbarics to provide compassionate and advanced care. Their skilled team, equipped with state-of-the-art technology, is here for you. They're dedicated to your well-being and comfort with convenient parking within 25 feet of the door. Visit bluegrasswoundcare.com or call 606-325-6493 to schedule your appointment today.
Major League Baseball's best prospects are coming to the Tri-State. The Tri-State Cold Cats season opening series with the Pulaski River Turtles is just a few weeks away. Limited tickets are still available for opening night at herdzone.com. Real baseball with players eager to show their talents to make the big leagues. Single game tickets are available now for the entire opening series. The season begins June 4th at Jack Cook Field. Every night will be filled with fun, food, and special fan games. Buy tickets online for the season opener on June 4th.
At home or at work, in the car or at the gym, there's nothing more convenient than the fast service and the quality products brought to you by Tyler Mountain Water and Coffee. If you're always on the go with family, friends, co-workers, and business associates, give Tyler Mountain Water and Coffee a chance. They have everything that you need, from filtration coolers, coffee for your work, at-home delivery, and 8-ounce, 10-ounce, and half-liter bottles. Or by the pallet. Tyler Mountain Water and Coffee, where great taste just comes naturally. Visit us at tylermountainwater.com.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Are you struggling with your mortgage payments? Call 888-995-HOPE to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about your options. Or visit makinghomeaffordable.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Treasury, HUD, and the Ad Council.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Final segment of today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Our text line this hour is 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Final segment coming up here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Baseball action. The Pirates are off today, so we're looking for a game tonight on the radio. We didn't have anything. We didn't have NBA. We had nothing. We got hockey So if you're looking for a game tonight, we got you covered. The Rangers are taking on the Hurricanes, and we've got that for you. Game 3 is coming up tonight. It's going to be 6:30 airtime right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I mean, we just didn't feel right. We didn't have a game tonight since the Pirates are off today. We don't have NBA on ESPN radio. We needed something. So we've got a game that's coming up, and it's a fun series so far. Went to double overtime, and it lasted quite a while. Stick with your team, Ben Anderson, our intern, who did not stick with the softball game. You're what, 20? You can't possibly tell me you got tired. You got tired. You're 20 years old. You should have a wealth of energy to watch Marshall's softball. Hopefully you don't fall asleep tonight. Don't fall asleep tonight. They're taking on Texas State tonight. You can't fall asleep on that one. NBA action. Since we didn't have a game, the closest we can give you, we didn't even have – I would have carried this if we could have had it on ESPN radio. It wasn't offered. Boston's taking on Cleveland tonight. Celtics lead that series 1-0. And Jokic continues to be the man. Third most valuable player trophy on Wednesday. Third time in 4 seasons. So what's more important in a career? If you can get them all, you can. But if you are collecting trophies, individual accolades, or do you want team championships? What makes your career stand out more, the team championship or the individual accolade? Now, if you're in an individual situation, you take obviously the individual awards. But if you're trying to lead your team to the promised land, you want the legacy to be built on team championships. I'll take an individual award too if you're a player. If you're leading your team to the championship, good things will come. Absolutely, good things will come. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Let's check the check line. Let's check the text line. Texter says, Paul, I can't believe your intern did not stay up late to watch the Herd. I agree. I can't believe it either. Thanks, Texter. I can't believe that Ben Anderson, our intern, did not stay up late for the game. You should have lied to me, Ben, and said, oh, yeah, I stayed up late. But he actively, you can't see this because we don't have a webcam in here. His face and his body just sank when I said, hey, did you stay up late? I almost think he was thinking I was asking him directly, and he was looking at me in shame. Like a puppy has done something wrong? That was Ben earlier in the booth. Ben, are you going to stay up tonight and watch the game? Okay. You promise? Herd's in action tonight. You got to stay up and watch the game. They could be advancing to the semifinals. Usually the Herd's in the quarters. Usually they're in the semis, but they had to go the long way about this here, and they got Texas State coming up tonight. Texter writes in and says, no, I did not watch the game. Shame on me. I'm watching tonight, though. I don't know. A lot of people just maybe thought that being a 10 seed, they didn't have a chance. I get that. You're like, okay, if they win, I'll watch. But that was fun to watch last night. I'll have that on the tablet. Have the tablet up. Have the laptop up. Last night you're trying to keep track of baseball and softball. You got the tablet. You got the laptop. You got the TV going. So I'll have that on the tablet tonight as I try to keep track of everything. Busy night in sports. As I mentioned, we got hockey coming up tonight, 6:30 right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Baseball action in the state. St. Joe, number 5 seeded St. Joe upsets number 2 seeded Tug Valley 9-3 in the Class A Region 4 Section 1 elimination game. The Irish improved to 12-17 on the season. And so they'll take on the winner of Van versus Sherman. That's an elimination game coming up on Friday. Spring Valley beat Huntington High 7-1 in the Class AAA Region 4 Section 1 opener. That was the game that was suspended due to rain on Monday. So Spring Valley taking on defending state champion Cabell Midland. That's 6 o'clock tonight in the sectional winners bracket. Huntington High takes on Lincoln County. That's coming up tonight, 6 o'clock, an elimination game. Coming up tomorrow on the program will be our Friday edition We're working on a couple of things, and I thought it would be cool if we could do this. And now that we've got young Ben Anderson, our intern, trained here a little bit, we're going to be doing a few things that during the summer we might not have had an opportunity to do, but transfer portal's kind of taken this away as well. And so now you've got a new coach in Julie Folks, and she has been able to hit the ground running. She's retained some of her team. She's been able to bring players in, and the Hayes sisters are going to be sticking around. But one player that was signed was actually a traditional recruit is Casey Ingram out of Cincinnati, Ohio, Kings High School. We're going to have her coach join us on the program tomorrow. We're going to find out what kind of player that the Thundering Herd will be getting in Casey Ingram. Don't forget, you can find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Paul Swann. You can find me on Facebook. It's The Drive with Paul Swann. I'll be back with you tomorrow here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Hopefully we're talking about another Thundering Herd softball win. They're taking on Texas State tonight. Hopefully the Herd can get it done and advance to the semifinals. Have a great night, everyone.
Retransmitting in Glorious FM on 94.1 W227BS Huntington. This is 930 WRVC Huntington, celebrating 100 years of broadcasting.
West Virginia Metro News, I'm Jarrett Lewis. State police say a press conference is coming tomorrow to talk about recent officer-involved incidents. One includes a fatal shooting